would like to say a few words about Ed because he is such a faithful brother in the Lord. He would always call Peter and I at home just to see how we were, just checking in all the time. And when we were at St. Mark's Anglican Church, and I was quite suspicious. Why is this person calling us all the time? What does he want? Because everybody wants something, except for Ed didn't want anything except for to find out how we were. And so I want to say thank you, Ed, for being a faithful, kind, generous-hearted brother in the Lord, and for your encouragement.
Well, thanks very much.
I'm Anne, and I'm Janice's older sister. And Alva is our older sister. The oldest sister. And I've known Ed for, I think, 43 years. I don't know. How long were you dating? We were living in San Diego.
Yeah, probably, 75, you know.
Yeah.
44 years.
44 years I've known Ed. And when we lived in San Diego, we ran a meditation center with a guru. So you can imagine how Ed and Janice felt about that. And I remember you coming to visit us. You you drove all the way down to Southern California. And Ed just would not let it go. You know how persistent he is. And he kept telling me, but what about Jesus? What do you think about Jesus? And I'm like, I don't think about Jesus. I don't want to have anything to do with Jesus. But Ed never, ever let go of praying for us and calling us back to the Lord. And we came to the Lord, Ed. All your prayers worked. So we are very grateful for Ed. We're very grateful for what he's done in our lives, just how he prays for us. And if we're ever in trouble, we can go to Ed, and he's not judgmental. He's just sweet and gentle, and it's the face of the Lord. That's what we see in you, Ed. So we're really glad you came into the family. You're a good addition to our family.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Over this thing.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. I didn't want to drop on you.
Appreciate that. Did you go down the back room?
No, she didn't.
No,
Thank
I'm
God.
good. I'm good.
Well, my name's
I have
Andrew.
3 kids. I'll
I'm Ed's youngest son, the third one. Yeah, what I can always say about my dad is that my first memories of him were back in the rectory, back in North Vancouver, and just always just being able to just go and see my dad. My dad was always there. He was always available. Sometimes his door would be locked because he was trying to work on something in his office, but he'd always be there. He'd always be there and always present and always available, and that was something that I just really treasured over the years, and maybe didn't appreciate as much when I was younger, but I just value so much now. And even now, Dad, you're always super available when we just need you for anything or when we just want to talk. And I just really just want to tell you just how much we love you and we appreciate you for just how available and how present you are.
She wants a juice box. Oh, I thought you
Don't worry, Peter, I won't involve you.
Ed seemed to be in and out of our lives a few times, actually. I remember him standing up with a singing group looking like someone from Woodstock, right? Long hair, beards, and the whole bit, right? But I was actually at a meeting in Vancouver, and somebody called Jack Major was there. Okay, and he was late for the meeting because he said, I have a new curate starting today, and we said, who? And he said, his name's Ed Hurt, and everybody in the room seemed to know you or know of you, and they all talked about what a wonderful guy you were, and that delayed the meeting. It was a long meeting. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that all those years ago, there was a whole lot of people in Vancouver who were very thrilled that you were getting started in the work of the church. You weren't getting, you'd been in it before, but you know it was official, your first day. So I remember your first day at work.
I've only known Ed for about 3 years, but honestly, so happy to be part of his family. And, you know, he is always there for people. And he's always willing to help at any party or gathering or anything at all. Always says, do you need a hand? Which a lot of people don't. So I really do appreciate it. And, you know, he is a family man.
I don't.
You don't. What don't you do? You appreciate your grandpa, don't you?
She's telling a sarcastic joke.
No, she's just poor.
Anyways, thank you for your support, Alva. It seems it runs in the whole family. I'm very happy to be part of this family. And I'm Alicia's mother.
Yes.
Ed Hurt. I met Ed when he was just dating Janice before they even got engaged. He had this wild red hair down to his shoulders and a big red beard. And everywhere he went, he took his guitar with him. And this one time, they came to see us at my in-laws in Hope. And I wasn't quite sure what to make of this guy that was in Janice's life. They weren't engaged at that point. I don't know where you guys were going at that point. You were going someplace. My favorite Ed story, though, is their first car. And it was a Volkswagen Bug. And you could see the ground because the floorboards had broken away. And it was in those days where you had to have the car go through the inspection. And Ed went to take the car through the inspection, and it failed. Got a great big, what was the letter?
Condemned.
Condemned. And so he could not drive it home. So didn't you take the bus home?
I was devastated. It was Romans 8, verse 1 in reverse.
That is condemnation.
But Ed and Janice have been wonderful supports to all of us. We've been very blessed by them and enjoyed many, many family get-togethers. And the thing about the Hurts is that they're very family-oriented, just like the Kleins. So it was a good pairing.
Well, I'll give it a go. I'm Rick Campbell. I'm married to Janice's sister, Anne. Almost forgot my wife's name. I'm having a deja vu experience because this exact thing was done at their wedding. And the thing I like, I'll give you a hint that I like most about Ed is his sense of humor, which has already been on display today. But at the wedding, it was, as I recall, it was hotter than this, wasn't it? It was really, really hot in the hall. And so it went on, and we were doing the same thing, and people got up and said, I'm United Church, and then they would give a long spiel. I don't know. I can't remember all the words, but I just remember the process. And then another person would get up and say, well, I'm an Anglican. And another one would get up and say, well, I'm a vicar. And another one get up, well, I'm a curate. So finally I screwed up my courage and I got up and I said, well, I'm not a vicar. I'm not a curate. I'm not an Anglican. I'm not United Church. I'm not even a Canadian. And Ed appreciated that very much. You remember? And you got a bigger laugh then even than now. The thing I appreciate most about Ed is his sense of humor, and along with that, equally, his encouragement. He's encouraged us so much over the years. Thank you, Ed.
Well, I didn't know we were speeches. And anybody who knows me knows I famously don't like to have my picture taken, so I'll hide over here. So I'm Wendy Hurd, Ed's sister, and we're waiting for my other sister, who should be here any second. So we're very grateful that Ed is here with us. We're grateful for his successful stent surgery, for that he was able to come to live in White Rock near me and be here to support our parents as they passed away. You know, we're grateful for Peter and Jenny, for their ministry, that Ed and Janice were able to come into that ministry. And I'm grateful for my brother, that we're brother and sister in Christ first, and that we'll all be together on the other side. Hallelujah.
Hello, Mom. My name is Gil. I'm a son of Robinson family.
For me, translate?
Yeah.
I'm the last son of
remember.
the Robinson family. He's the youngest of Wendy's and mine. Go ahead, man.
I remember Ed, as a man, he has a great blessing in him. He has good spirit. Thank you.
A great blessing on you. Somehow I find myself up here now. Help me out, Gil. So, I've known Ed for almost 50 years. He didn't know me at the time, but I sat behind him in Math 11. I was in grade 10, he was in grade 11. We were learning whatever it was we were learning. And for some reason, the teacher didn't like Ed. I think he had just too much energy, too much voltage or something. And I was in her line of sight too, so she had it in for us, kind of. And that's how we sort of got started as friends. And then Ed came to faith early in 1972, and he challenged me, and he was interested in me, and invited me over. And so we talked about, faith and what I thought at the time, which was very not Christian. And thankfully, I came to the Lord too, in early '72. And the other great thing is that Ed introduced me to his sister.
Donald, one of the things that probably irritated the math teacher is I refused to wear glasses because I didn't like how they looked, so I couldn't see the board.
So good.
I'm Dave Carson. I've been a retired pastor now for 10 years, but I've known Ed at the Vancouver Pastors Proud Fellowship on nearly every month, at least several times a month. we bumped into each other, and Ed did not disappoint. He always sat in the same chair. Very interesting. But this revelation of Ed having long red hair and beard, you must be really upset that the Woodstock revival was cancelled recently. I would have liked to have seen that. You know, but, I think Ed, I just comment on his spirituality. I think we noticed that Ed is, he's probably the devil's worst nightmare come true. And we could extend that to the bishop's worst nightmare come true as well. Not this bishop, I mean the other one. And it was our, if you like, our admiration of Ed and others like him who took a stand for biblical truth and would not compromise. We admire your persistence, your integrity, and your stickability. We were proud to stand with you in that, in prayer and in public support as well. I think Ed is, if he's not a genius, he's near genius. I think he's a very clever man. And the way in which he writes and he does a lot of things, very clever things. And I probably come to the conclusion, it just dawned on me, because I don't know how you do it. You know, how you get this work output. And I just realized sitting there, I thought, I got it. Janice must have kept this covered for years, but you're actually not human. You're actually... I think Ed is an android and does not need sleep at night to do everything that he does. Because, Ed, we've noticed that you work hard, and you're always there for us. You were there for us recently, on the phone, ideas, and I think I was watching Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible. You know, I think you know, for you, nothing is impossible. God has given you a gift of faith and a persistence, which is very, very commendable. And in the birthday card that we wrote for you, you'll find engraved this text. So I'll read it because it sums up what I felt the Lord gave me for you yesterday when we were just thinking about you. Remarkable person. Therefore, my beloved Ed, that's what Paul wrote. Be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labour is not in vain. Well done, Ed.
I don't know who's talked or whatever, but I've known Ed since 1972. And there's my granddaughter making noise. Anyway, so every year, about once a year, I'd see him. And you know what I really liked about Ed? He had these beautiful blue eyes. And I could see the Holy Spirit through them. Wow. You know? And then I saw him. Who's that? Is that some? Oh, that's John. Has someone let him in? Anyway, so yeah, so I was very surprised to find him at my music school because I knew music was very difficult, and here was Ed doing music, and it turned out that he found it very difficult because the theory class was really hard because not only did you have to write it all down, so you had to be able to tell what each note was in the chord and everything, so it was really quite difficult. But anyway, so I got to know Ed, and I even saw him at, what was the name of it? InterVarsity at university. And you know what the first thing he says to me? I didn't know you were a Christian. I thought, not the most sensitive thing to say. I was a pastor's daughter, except, but that didn't really mean that much back then, but yeah. So, but anyways, with Ed, it's always an adventure. You never know what new idea he's going to have, right? And I have to work and see if I'm going to agree. But then, of course, I've always got
ideas, and he has to wait a couple of years before he'll agree with me on the idea or not. Like moving out here. So, yeah, but the thing about Ed is, I never called him this, but when he was young, he was called Steady Eddie. And I don't mean that as in going out with girls. I mean that you could always count on him. He would always be there for you. He'd always do what you needed, you know? He was always trustworthy, and he's a great guy. And I love him.
That's a good name for a private business, though, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm Norma Carruthers, and I'm not part of the Klein family or the Hurd family. But I've known Janice and Ed for many years, and I've known them basically through the BC Christian Ashram, which Janice's dad, David Klein, was one of the founders of many years ago, about 30 years ago, right? And I've been part of, my husband and I were part of this for many years, and I still am, and the BC Christian Ashram today is as the direction of Ed and Janice, and they are in very capable hands because we need lots of people who are thinking and planning the Christian program and activities and so on for the retreat in the summer, but also for things that will happen throughout the year. So Ed, for the years that you have given to the BC Christian Ashram, which are many, both as a participant and now as a leader, I give you many thanks because it owes its success right now and its continuing success to the kind of love and joy you have shared of Jesus with all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
And Norma is our registrar. She's an amazing lady. And it's actually 47 years. So Janice she's only been involved for 45
Oh, is that all?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Okay.
I didn't know Ed was that bad.
She got elbowed, accidentally elbowed.
I think that's probably it.
Oh, now somebody else is going to speak.
Yeah, come on.
Do we get a speech, by the way?
Okay, I didn't prepare a speech, and I don't usually do this. Okay, you gotta come up here. I have this for Ed. Okay, I'm not being, Yes, you are. Shh.
Candid camera.
Okay, I'm on candid camera. John, do you wanna come and stand with me? Come and stand with me, John. Come on. I wanted to say about Ed because, like, he's just really, really, really super unusual. Like, there's just absolutely nobody like him, you know? And he's just, and some of the things that I really like about him, like, he's always positive. Like, he's always cheerful, no matter what, no matter what's happening. Like, everything could be just, the whole world could be falling apart, and Ed would still be cheerful, you know? And he's very encouraging, and like his wife said, he's steady Eddie. So that was a good name for him. And he's very kind-hearted. He's very helpful. He's and if I say too many more things, he'll have a big puffed head. It's okay. There've been lots of people for free. But John and I are very, very pleased to not only know him, but to actually be in his family. It's an honor to be in his family, and you should say who you are. And we just are really, really thankful for how much he has been, how much they have been there for our daughter Ruthie and her husband Andrew, who is their son, and for the grandkids and everything. And I really appreciate his kindness and his encouragement, and his, he thinks the best of everybody, and I guess I'll just sit down now because okay, thank you.
I don't like public speaking, but anyway, I did write this out, and I'm sorry, I have to read. Oh, I'm Catherine Eunice, daughter, David Klein's widow, and I've known Ed for 17 years, and they've all been a pleasure. So on Ed's 61st birthday, ever since we have known Ed, we have been impacted by his kindness, loyalty, and devotion to the Lord. He's a great prayer warrior. His dedication to filming and taking photos of all events and facets of daily life are greatly appreciated. Seeing him with his grandchildren is perhaps the best illustration of all his wonderful qualities. He is such a blessing to all the family. We wish him the happiest of birthdays, all our love and blessings from Catherine, David, my husband, and the whole Whalen family.
Hi. I used to be able to, at these events, to say I'm the daughter-in-law, but I'm now one of two daughter-in-laws, so I'll just say I'm one of the daughter-in-laws. I'm married to Andrew, which is Ed's youngest son. That was my mom that spoke a little bit earlier there, in case you're confused on the linkage there. So I'm not gonna say too much. I've known Ed. I actually first met Ed back when I was in school. Andrew and I were in drama class together for 2 years, and so I met Ed initially there, but I didn't meet him again until years later when Andrew and I reconnected and then started dating. And so I started going to Ed's church then while I was dating Andrew, and we rented. I can attest to him running on very little sleep because we rented from Ed and Janice when we had our oldest child. And there were many mornings where I was staggering up with my son early in the morning, and I'd stagger downstairs, and Ed would be up there wide awake and go, "Oh, would you like me to hold him? I've been up for hours." I'm like, yeah, okay. I think one of my funniest memories, though, of Ed is actually, he interrupted Andrew and I's engagement accidentally. So Andrew had been trying to hide the ring from me because he had bought it while we were at dinner, and I had noticed this strange little box-shaped bulge in his pocket, and so I kept staring at it, and he swapped it out for gummy worms when I wasn't looking, so that eventually he could pull it out when I said, okay, I can't stand it, what's in your pocket? He goes, "Gummy worms, you want one?" But he had been planning this romantic, thing, and he felt bad because I looked so dejected on the way home because I thought I was getting a ring, and here it was, gummy worms. And so he finally decided, okay, I'll pop the question really sweetly on the front step. So we get up to the door, and Ed and Janice are inside, and they hear talking on the front step. And Andrew, pulls out the ring and gets down on one knee, and he's like, "I want to give you a home forever. Would you marry me?" It's all very romantic. And then all of a sudden, I guess Janice had said to Ed, they've been talking for a long time. Maybe they forgot their key. And so he comes to the front door, opens the front door, and stands there on the screen while Andrew is on one knee proposing to me. We both kind of look, and I'm like, "It's really not a good time, Ed." He goes, "Oh, sorry, Carry on then. Closes the door, locks it, and then walks back in. So it's a good thing we had our keys then, because otherwise we would have been stuck on the stoop. So yeah, that's my funniest story of Ed.
Oh, I made it. I was just going to say, my wife Carly, she's sitting here, she was working with Janice, and Carly's very much the outgoing Christian, and she was always talking to all the co-workers and stuff like that, and Janice noticed that. And then it became very apparent that they started to pray for certain people together. And I thought, oh, that's wonderful. So I heard almost daily reports about new things that were happening at work. And so I thought, well, this Janice gal, she's really cool, you know. It's interesting. And she said, well, they've invited us to come over for dinner. And guess what? Her husband is an Anglican priest. And I'm going, really? It may sound funny to you, but just in my limited, Christianity, I hadn't run across too many Anglicans, and anyone that I had, I would share my faith with them, and they would go, "What are you talking about?" Really, and so I'd never spoken with an Anglican that really knew anything about the Lord. And it was really funny. So she said, they've invited us over, so we went over. And then we had a wonderful time. And we really connected with them, really beautiful. They came over to our place next. And we went for a walk around the neighborhood. It was just a beautiful day and all that. And Ed and I, we started, just walking by ourselves, and every once in a while he would yell out to the girls something really funny. So that sense of humor is very, very evident. But what really clicked is when we came back to our house. He said, "Is there anything we can pray about?" He anointed me with oil, and oh my, the Holy Spirit was really there. I have never been prayed for like that man prayed for me. Just what a connection. Thank you, Lord, for you, Ed. Be blessed.
I felt like I should have become 65 earlier.
Blessings. Well, for anybody that doesn't know me, my name is Glenn, and Ed and I have known each other, well, for a couple of years. And go back a long ways, and we've traveled many roads, and many different things have happened, and some of the things that you touched on, Dave, very serious things that happened in difficult times, and but yesterday, Thursday, on the 16th, we were in the North Shore, and we went back to the North Shore together for the Right Now. I don't know if everybody's aware of what's going on, but there's a movement to have pro-life people elected across the country. There's a very strong grassroots movement, and we're going into areas and having meetings and drawing people in. So through this process, the Lord brought Ed and I back together again, and back on the North Shore. And Ed was going, oh, well, like he's feeling like an expat going back to North Van. While I was sitting here and listening to things and thinking about Ed, I think that one of the things that the Lord's putting in my heart is about the feet being fitted with gospel of the peace. And I think that that's my prayer. And we've spent years praying together. We've been on the mountaintops, we've been in the valleys praying and waging war. It is, and waging war. And so my prayer for you is that your feet would be continually blessed with the gospel of peace and shalom. And when I hear all the stories here, it just makes me, I wasn't planning on coming to say anything, but it fills my heart. Just with an outpouring of the Spirit and the love. And one of the things that I felt when we were on the North Shore was, and we kind of prayed into it, and it would be a good thing for anyone, all, to be praying into, and that is for all the seeds that have been sown. Ed, this man, has walked and knocked. And many places, and we can say he's walked and knocked, around the world. But I pray that for you, that everywhere you go and you're walking and you're knocking, that people will be opening their hearts, and that the seeds would be sown, and that good fruit would be born. And I think that that's something that we can all pray into. Bless you, God, for opening your heart to the Lord.
Well, I'm 65 this year too, and I'm suffering from memory loss, and I think I've known Ed for about 15 minutes. I'm Ruthie's dad, and I've had the pleasure of knowing Ed since they started dating pretty much, and it's been a joy. It was funny, about 2 or 3 times, I guess it's about 3 times, that we've been invited over to Ed and Janice's place. Were times where I was going through this tremendous adversity, and I didn't feel like getting invited to anybody's place. And my general way of dealing with struggles is to get off by myself and talk to God, and I didn't feel like visiting anybody, but for the sake of being part of the family, I decided I would go along. And all 3 times he had the exact words of encouragement that just made the problem really, really small. He would pray with me, and he would perceive that I was going through stuff. And that's who he is. And another thing I've always thought during my life is when you go to funerals and everybody gets up and tells you what they thought of people, it's really, really nice to hear people get a chance to tell you what you've been to them before it's too late. You know? And I think that's really great. I think it's awesome what's happening here today. And one of the things I really, really have grown to admire about Ed is the way he deals with my grandson. And my grandson's always telling me what Grandpa told him and what Grandpa showed him and what Grandpa did to him. And being a fellow grandpa, that is such a joy to see. Elaine and I have always been really, really grateful that my kids have married into Christian families and got Christian grandparents. And nowadays, with a lot of the stuff that's being foisted on young people and the way the foundations are being destroyed in today's society, it's really important that you have people of faith to speak into your grandkids, you know. And I thank you for that, Ed. It's a privilege to have known you, privilege to walk with you.
Oh, I love being a fellow grandpa with you.
All right.
Is my wife here?
I think she's getting
So I think we'll probably draw this to almost to a wrap. Okay. Guess we can't cut James off, right?
You have 5 minutes, James.
Okay. I've known my dad for over 38 years, and they said I was the toughest one because I was the eldest one, but I learned my integrity through my dad and my granddad, Klein, and my grandpa Hurd, because they were all tough workers. And I'd like to thank my dad for taking a stand for the gospel when the Anglican Church was getting torn apart. And I'm honored that he married Alicia and I. That was a dream come true for us. And Alicia would say some stuff, but she's busy with the baby. So we love you, Dad, and I hope you have a great 65th birthday. And I look forward to going to the March for Jesus with you the first time in Surrey on Saturday, August 31st at 11 a.m.
Seeing James up there just reminded me, one of my best memories of Ed is he was changing. Janice called out to him, change the baby. So he was a little toddler, James was, and Ed's talking to us about Jesus and things that are really heady and really important. And he's trying to change James, and I'm watching him put both of James' feet into one leg of his back, and then he puts him down and James falls over. So there's also that about you, Ed.
Okay, I think there's going to be some food soon, so thank you for everybody sharing that. That was very special.